Hi there, Betsy Rosenberg back here with you to talk to a young person, one of so many who are doing so much in addition to their studies to try to wake up their friends and colleagues and families and probably parents to smell the carbon and to get off their gases, as I say. Alex Silva is a student at the University of Portland, where they've been getting too much rain after so much drought and heat record, of course, and we know what's causing it. He certainly does. He does his thing on TikTok, and I wish I could say I was hip enough to be on TikTok, but I'm not. So I'm just going to have to tell people who are. Well, Alex will tell you where to go to find him, but I'm pleased to have you, Alex, because you have such a big following and you're so young, and to really commit to at least part-time talking about environmental issues and challenges and solutions is really admirable. And tell us like how you got concerned. Was it something you kind of as a kid felt? Because I actually did, strange as that is. I wish more kids did, right? Or was there an event that happened? Is it your parents, your family? And then what did you decide to do about it?
Well, I feel like I've always been, caring of the environment and nature. I've always loved going outside and, going on hikes or going to the beach or whatever. But my environmental action and activism didn't really start until my freshman year of high school, when I saw like documentaries and, stuff about plastic pollution and climate change, where I really wanted to do something more than just recycling or, reusing a plastic bottle for a craft or something like that. I
Good
really
for you.
wanted to do so much more. So I started doing like little things, like encouraging people around me to like reduce their waste, or switch to a reusable water bottle, straw, utensils and stuff like that. And then I led the environmental club at my school from sophomore year up until senior year, and that's where things started getting like really serious. There was a lot of community service. There was a lot of volunteer events and conventions and meetings like that.
How did you have time to do all this and keep up with your studies? And did your parents try to slow you down? If that's
Um, well, I definitely took a lot of time for both studying and the environmental club, but I made sure to keep a balance. I'm not sure how I did it, but I managed.
Not easy. Not easy, especially just the psychological, emotional part of it. I've been at this over a quarter of a century about that. And it does take its toll. And some days you just fired up and you're going to do everything in your power and gives you purpose. I'm speaking for you, but this is how it's been for me. I suspect a lot less time, but passion is passion, right?
Right.
And other days it's just overwhelmingly bad news. And like, why am I devoting my life to this when it's a lost cause? So you're much younger, you have your life ahead of you. Are you committed to this particular cause? And do you have any idea which direction you're going to go? And then we're going to talk about your EcoTok segment on TikTok, if that's what you call TikTok things.
I'm definitely committed. It's definitely a passion of mine that I want to continue for the rest of my life. As for like career wise, I'm still working on that, but as of now, I'm doing social media work, activism online, and EcoTok, like we said.
Now, in your study, environmental studies, I think you said is one of your majors.
Yeah.
And they didn't really have that in college when I was in school, or at least they didn't call it that, or it wasn't as popular. Now, the good news is that the curriculum is changing in high schools and colleges to reflect the interest, the demand, which is fabulous. But again, we can't just wait for you guys to come of age, get into your chosen professions, and then start digging the dirt off the pile. We got to start doing that for you. So tell me, this TikTok thing, were you already on TikTok and you started doing like eco raps? And part of the reason I was interested in meeting you is, for those who don't know, for many years, I did a show on Air America, which was a liberal radio network. It was called EcoTalk, ECOTALK, and you are ECOTOK for
Yeah.
TikTok. So yeah, that's a great name. Obviously, I like it, and especially clever because TikTok, is such a popular genre. How did that evolve?
Well, before EcoTok, I was already on TikTok with my own personal environmental account for a while. Not sure how long, but during the summer of quarantine, which I think was 2020, that's when I wanted to see more environmentalists on the platform. So I posted a video and I thought I could reach out to as many people as possible. That's when I found a whole community on TikTok. And from there, that's when I thought of the idea for EcoTok, a whole um, community where, people from different backgrounds can post on one account and people can go to when they need like certain um, questions answered or stuff like that.
So pardon my ignorance, I'm showing my age, but is it like a hashtag would be so that anything under certain category, subject matter would show up in your feed if you were following EcoTalk, for instance, if somebody was? Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of. And when you talk about ecological things, do you, and I'm sorry, I haven't seen it yet, but it would be self-obvious if I had, but tell us, for those who don't even have a TikTok account, but want to know more about what you are doing. Do you lecture? Do you play games? Do you dance? And then during breaks, give a little green wrap, or give us a picture of what you offer.
It's a pretty big variety of content. There is dancing with music in the background and captions in the middle of a video that people can read, and those are more shorter lengths. And then we also have more informative videos where we talk about certain topics, or there's just more lighthearted comedic videos.
So is this live or this recorded? I guess the videos would be recorded, but then do you talk about them in real time, or is the whole thing recorded?
They're all recorded. They're all videos posted onto the account.
Okay. And how many people are following you?
We have, I want to say, over 100,000 followers.
Congratulations. How long did it take to get that kind of number?
We've been on the platform for about a year.
So that took off. Are there many
yeah.
other eco-talkers, maybe not under that name, but you said you found a community. Like, how many of you are doing this, really making this essential, subject matter of your presentations?
There's quite a lot of us who are producing content and following each other and sometimes collaborating and, supporting each other.
That's great. What do you think makes your content so popular? Like, do you have any ability to analyze it?
Definitely keeping up with the trends, humor, dances,
whatever it takes, huh?
Yeah.
And I've heard there's even parents, baby boomers on TikTok, and some of them get viral followings, or I would call it viral. It spreads, virally. But the parents of your generation are not so good at maybe practicing what they preach. Not enough of my generation is even preaching it. They're not talking about it. What would you like the parents to know so you can stay in school? Because our society is having a lot of problems right now, but this is certainly one of them, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's what we call eco-anxiety. I'm sure you've heard of it.
A couple of shows on it about dozen years ago. Yes, big topic, and it's only growing as it should.
Yeah, and we get a lot of comments under our videos of younger generations like really anxious about the climate crisis, and they're unsure of what to do. They don't want to do anything because they believe it's too late and stuff like that. So I guess what I would say to our parents and stuff like that is to listen and help us spread the word and do something about it so that we don't feel so anxious and frozen all the time.
Yeah, you want to see your parents, by definition, parents protect and love and would do anything for their kids. And yet it's been difficult to understand why parents have not been in the forefront of this movement, because they have parents and kids. Although I just interviewed Bill McKibben, you probably know who he is, a longtime climate activist who started 350.org, has written some 19 books, and a professor at Middlebury College. But his latest campaign, he launched Third Act. And that is to reach people who are 60 and over, who are concerned about the climate, who most likely have children and or grandchildren. And when you sign up, there are certain things you can do. They give you join an organization, show up at rallies, vote, vote, vote. I think people sometimes just need to know what they can do. They're not necessarily used to going to protests, people in their 60s and maybe younger. So what do you think would be the most effective thing for the 50 and older set to do that would help you guys feel like you've got a shot at a future, and not that it's all just coming crumbling down as everyone else is busy with tweeting or whatever?
Well, I definitely think voting and using their rights to push for environmental policies and stuff like that that people who can't vote yet aren't able to do. Participate in community meetings and stuff like that. Just making sure that we're supported in that way.
And it must be so disheartening for you. It certainly is for me, to see that some of these politicians who have no right being leaders. One party in particular has been really just very sluggish. That's the nicest word I could probably come up with on taking action to fight climate change. We have science denial. That wasn't a thing when I was growing up. And to see people in a position of power and abusing it by either being beholden to special interests, fossil fuel industry, or whatever their conservative ideals are that get in the way of them doing what they have to know is the right thing. And especially when we have so many extreme weather events. I thought when my generation grew up that we would be very progressive and we wouldn't have some of these problems like the old school did. And yet here we are. So that must be just kind of, a real heart harmer, I would think.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's super disheartening to see how things have been playing out.
So have you had conversations with parents, as maybe your parents mention you and your work to their friends, but they may not be on TikTok, but like when you show up for dinner or something, do they want to pick your brain? Do you see people being more actively engaged? Because a big part of the problem is what I call eco-illiteracy, because we didn't really learn it in school so much, and because we have not really fostered environmental stewardship so much, not nearly enough in this country. Some other countries are much better, some are much worse, but it's not something, like America is all about individual rights, and this we see it playing out with people who don't want to wear masks or get vaccinated. It's individual rights. Yeah, but do you have the right to harm me? Personal decisions have public impact. So have you seen, some of your stuff spread as parents either feel guilty or genuinely curious to learn more and do more?
I'm not sure. What I have gotten a lot of is you're going to change the world. You can do this, and you're the generation. Like a lot of the pressure being put on me rather than how can I help you, or what can I do to do better. It's a lot of you're doing great and support, but I guess lack of action on their part.
So what do you say to that? Because that's exactly, what Greta says at COPs, blah, blah, blah. And don't expect us to fix it. You guys fix it. You're the leaders, you're the politicians. So what do you say when you hear those kinds of comments?
Most of the time I know my audience, so I typically just go along with it. I know, like, picking at their brains and saying it's not just on our generation would start unnecessary arguments that would waste time. I really think that we need to know who we're talking to when it comes to stuff like that. So I'd rather
you might try it. Sorry,
I'd rather like spend that time speaking with people who already understand the crisis, and they are more willing to help, rather than just expecting the younger generations to do all the work.
No, exactly. I guess, would you like to say, if there are people I've just described, people maybe 40 and above, who are either parents of young children, or even if they don't have kids, what kinds of things could they be thinking about? Because I think sometimes it just takes a conservation mentality. When people say, Betsy, what can I do? I say, put on the green glasses and look around where you are and see how I can save energy, water, food. There's so much waste in this country, and your generation is going to need it all, right? Especially water. And with more extreme weather, there's so much expense, the cost of these, look at these hurricanes in Kentucky and 3 other states. So I hate when I hear the politicians say we can't afford to do this, it'll be bad for jobs. That's BS, frankly. Like to end with, unless there's more, I want to let you get back to your good work, but I don't want to miss any opportunities to hear some of your thoughts or things you wish you could say and people would listen, of any age.
Right. Well, I really want people to organize with their communities so much more. Speaking with neighbors, different communities, and schools and stuff like that. Just start having the conversations and seeing what their specific communities need, so that they can work to improve that and make it more green or ecological and stuff like that. I feel like that's really important, rather than trying to overwhelm us with the larger scales of the whole country, but starting with our communities can really help.
Yeah, and one of the things that has set in, which is so tragic, is people have gone from what problem to, oh yeah, it's too late, we're doomed, and like as if that's okay, giving up on future generations,
Right.
And there was an expression growing up, maybe you guys do it too, it's think globally, act locally. So it sounds like you're really making a case for getting involved where you live. And also the benefits of talking about these things. I mean, Catherine Hayhoe, one of the premier climate scientists, who I was also fortunate to interview many years ago, says the most important thing you can do is talk about it, because people respond if you don't see it on the news, or you don't see your neighbors putting solar panels on, or the other moms in PTA talking about climate change and all this stuff that's happening, you assume well, maybe it's not that big of a problem.
Right.
And then there's plenty of people who didn't know and don't know, but if they get engaged in a conversation, especially with their peers, someone they respect, that could really make a big difference.
Oh yeah, I agree. And not only talking about it, but letting other people know that it's not too late. And if we just work together, it'll be okay in the end.
Like I hope you will tell your followers to ask their parents, or we certainly welcome any age viewer, to greentv.com. We're hoping to grow quickly, to have maybe 24/7 live programming, and it's all through a green lens, environmental news and views you can use, and bringing the best experts in to talk about so many issues, because there are so many and they're interconnected. So we really see it as a place to learn, but also to be engaged and even entertained. And we are motivated by you, Alex Silva, and your peers and what you're doing. And I will check out EcoTok. I do have a TikTok account. I just really haven't explored it. But I really admire you, applaud you. And I know I speak for many grownups in saying, keep it up, but don't keep it all on your shoulders. Parents, that's too much to ask. And the bigger the mess we leave for you, the harder it's going to be. And we should at least show that we tried, right? Once we knew what we knew.
Absolutely.
Any parting thoughts? Or
no, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to let me talk about this and speak my mind about what adults can do.
You're a fellow eco-talker. And I'm honored to have you on. Thank you for taking time this busy time of year, and we'll do our part to let people know that you're out there. And who knows, maybe I'll get on TikTok and join you with being an eco-talker, the last generation, the previous generation.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll look for you.
Love that.
I'm now motivated to get on to look for you. Thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
And please tell your friends about Green TV. And we also accept donations. There's a donation button on the homepage. And please subscribe. The more subscribers we get to our YouTube channel, the sooner we can expand our team and expand our coverage. So thanks again.